Hello everybody, it's Adam here from Ambigo. Welcome along to the Brighton and Hove Hope Exchange, what we do every Friday. Every Friday evening we get people together to exchange support for their goals, ideas and ambitions. So I'm from an organisation called Ambigo, and this evening we're doing the event in conjunction with another wonderful organisation called Gig Buddies for Good Mental Health. And what they're all about is getting people together, matching adults experiencing mental health challenges with a volunteer who have similar interests to go to events together that they both love. So they do wonderful things, and we are blessed to have some of their good buddies involved this evening. So what's going to happen? Well, people are going to come on and they're going to take it in turns to express a goal, an idea or an ambition that they have. And then the invitation will go out to you to see if you have any information or contacts or some advice or any other kind of support that you can offer so you can help them get a little bit closer to whatever it is they want to do and boost their confidence as well. So I'm here and we've got somebody else over in Five Ways, and he's called Andy. Good evening, Andy.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening, Adam.
And what is that you're in front of? It says it's called the Wall of Ambitions.
Yes, normally I launch in and just say what this is, but I thought this time I'd see whether you wanted to ask me. Hello, everybody. I'm here standing in front of the Ambigo Wall of Ambitions. It stands about 7.5 foot tall. It's wider than my arms reach. It's big, it's black, it's gorgeous. And normally it travels around the city with us, or we travel around it rather. And it becomes a place where people can leave a little note saying what their ambition is. The idea being that we invite people to just gently browse the wall. They have a look, they have a little read of what people have written down as something they'd like to do, an ambition, a task, a dream, a project they'd like to work on, something they'd like to change in themselves, anything really. We allow people to just read these things and just get inspired. And what often happens is people realize that they might actually be able to help. So we have loads and loads of Post-its lying around and a whole slew of colored pens and invite people to leave a little note, maybe a few words of encouragement, maybe some tips and advice because you've done something similar and there's something there that you know that possibly the ambitioneer, as we like to call them, hasn't necessarily thought of. Or you might actually know somebody who can do something quite specific, like I know somebody who could print that, or I know somebody who could sew that for you, or I know somebody who has a yacht and is about to just about sail around the world and wants a cabin person. You know, you never know. And of course, my personal favorite, those of you who think that's such a brilliant idea, I kind of like to do that myself. I'd like to get involved. Would you like a friend? Join in. We hang out on places like New Road or in the middle of Kemp Town Carnival or on Freshers Fairs or deep as dark as wonderful East Brighton, lovely place that, or over in Hangleton or wherever really, wherever you are, and we invite you to browse it. Often we have a delicious array of snacks and delightful kind of edibles and drinks and so on, often gifted to you through us from the fantastic local co-ops. Thank you, guys. And we just have a day of it. Now, sadly, as you know, we can't do that. But so, you know, here we are on your internet. If you like, we're on the street corner of the internet. That's what it is. My job here is to write on your behalf and to repeat back to you what you've said, hopefully getting it right. Adam's here to have a fantastic chat with you and see if he can't just draw out what your ambition is. That's it in a nutshell, Adam. Did you want to add anything?
No, you've covered everything. I think what we can do is we can actually head over to Joe. So Joe is from Gig Buddies for Good Mental Health. Hello, Joe. We can just about see you somewhere in
the I'm going to move.
Oh, there you are.
Yes. Let me just find
you doing?
Yeah, really good. I'm just going to find somewhere where you can see me.
Oh, we can see you well now. It's just while you had the light behind you. It looks like your internet's just disappeared as well. Oh, you're back with us. Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Joe, tell us all about what
it disappeared?
Yeah, it did. And you're frozen, but we can hear you.
I need to find a good spot.
when you found a good spot, tell us all about what Gig Buddies for Good Mental Health does.
Okay, I'm just going to move because I think that's not a good, I don't think it's a good spot. I can't really hear you very well. Give me a moment.
Well, while you found your spot, I'll just let everybody know that we have got our first participant, Emma, ready and waiting. So we'll go to her in a moment. This looks perfect. And you've got a lovely lampshade behind you as well. Yeah. So yeah, go ahead.
This side.
Yeah, there it is. Tell us all about what Gig Buddies for Good Mental Health actually does.
Great. So yeah, my name's Jo Bates. I'm the Gig Buddies for Good Mental Health coordinator. We are an organisation that matches adults that have got mental health struggles across the community, sort of depression, low mood, anxiety, social anxiety, with the volunteer to go to gigs and events, and basically to kind of get out of the house, to build confidence, to have fun, just to access creative opportunities, because creativity is so good for our mental health, self-expression. It's really enjoyable, and you can sort of connect with other members of the community in a really kind of joyful, happy, spirited way. So that's the kind of essence of the project. Obviously, because of the coronavirus, it's been a challenge, because the kind of main bread and butter of our work, i.e. going to venues and events, has all been shut down. So we've been working on other things. We've made a Gig Buddies for Good Mental Health zine, which has been really nice. So loads of our participants and volunteers have contributed to make a really beautiful zine with like artwork, photographs, poetry. And we've been making up these art survival, COVID-19 survival boxes, which have got just an array of different art materials in, and stuff to make and do when you're at home if you're feeling isolated or feeling quite low. We're part of the Synergy Creative Community, which is a peer-to-peer led creative organisation, again using creativity and art as a tool to kind of express ourselves, to build strength, resilience and community. And Gig Buddies is a strand of that larger project. In a nutshell, that's what it is. It's really about having fun, making new friends, building connections with other people, and just having opportunities to really enjoy yourself and have that kind of joyful moment experiencing a gig or a play, something that you can really connect with and just feel a great sense of being alive. And yeah, that's kind of it in a nutshell, really. Bit of a summary. Yeah.
No, thank you for such an excellent overview. So if people are interested in getting involved, if they like the sound of this, how can they do so?
Yeah, so we've got if you go to the Synergy website, we've got a kind of whole referral system. You could volunteer, or if you wanted to be a participant, we've got some sort of quite brief forms on there. They're not extensive. You just fill them in, send them back to me. All my details are on the forms, and then the process is I'll then make contact. And again, in normal circumstances, I'd do a face-to-face meeting, but in this instance, it might be a phone call or something like we're doing now, Adam. And then the process is we'll do a matching exercise. So we'll look at who we've got, kind of try and match in terms of music likes or creative likes, or some of our participants like going for walks, take photos. It's very, very bespoke depending on the need of the participant. It's easy. It's an easy process. And we try to kind of keep make it as barrier free as possible to really enable people to access that particular support. So yeah.
Yeah, what a lot of fun, and thanks so much for doing it. So Jo, we're going to come back to you a bit later on, cool. If you're able to stick around. And next we'll go to Emma, who was our first participant. And thank you so much for letting us partner with you and lining up some participants this evening to share their goals. So we'll speak to you in a little bit, Jo.
Well. Thank you so much for having us. Really grateful.
Thank you, Jo. Okay, so we'll go to Emma in just a sec. Just want to say we do have time for you. If you're out there and you have a goal, idea or ambition that you would like to share and get the support from the community with, then you just have to click on the link that accompanies the video that you're watching now on Facebook or on YouTube, and you'll be able to join us here in the broadcast, and we will actually be able to hear all about what it is that you'd like to do. But first up, we've got somebody called Emma, who's there, who's been waiting patiently. Hello, Emma.
That's all right.
You're also in the dark
as well, look. I'm not going to move around. Don't have the lighting like you have.
Well, you know what? I didn't have any light at all in here until I went and got some new light bulbs 2 days ago. I've been sitting in the dark for weeks. It's pretty tricky. You've got a little bit of fairy lights around the microwave or the oven, but yeah.
Well, yeah.
Struggling for light,
trying to make it a bit brighter.
Well, don't worry, we can hear you. We can hear all about your ambition. That's the main thing. So, what is it that you'd like to do?
Well, actually, I've got a few thoughts, but one that ties in with Gig Buddies quite a bit, because I'm part of Gig Buddies. I haven't got a buddy yet because I joined just before the corona, so I'm just going to have to wait for that to pass. But what I would like to do is like health talks for people, but not talks, a bit like a TED talk, but not as dry. They're a little bit like they're lecturing you. I think that I don't have all the answers. I think that more interaction, so people are talking together about health. I've done lots of studies. I've got a lot of information to pass over and help people find their own path of happiness and health, depending on what their conditions are. But then after that, maybe a band, a few drinks, socializing and getting together. So it's more of a social event rather than just a dry health talk about how you can make yourself better and walk away a little bit like, oh, something to dance to afterwards would be great.
Something really engaging, really interactive. So what inspired this idea?
The fact that I really want to do talks, but I don't want them to be just lecturing. And my favourite other thing is listening to music and bands. So I wanted to combine the two, really.
Yeah. What would actually help you to achieve this, do you think?
People's interest, I suppose. I think I may have the venue, Later 7 Music Bar. That's always a good place to have get-togethers, gatherings. It's a great bar. It's a great space to have, to be in. And really just people's interest to see if I can get it out there and see if people would want to come. What would be a good price, like donations or a £5, and you get a free drink. So a little bit of feedback from people would be really nice.
Okay, and you'd obviously need people to play music and to do the talks as well.
Yeah.
So if somebody were interested in the topic, well, what is it? If you, how can I say it? What do you want the talks to focus on in particular, so that the people who would talk know what to respond to?
You mean we could match the band to the ailment? Okay, no, that's quite funny. No, but the first talk I might do is about healing yourself through the power of the mind. I'm quite passionate about that, the placebo effect. About people, if you've got small conditions, the doctors don't know what it is, don't go immediately to tablets to the farmers. You can actually heal yourself very easily through meditation, through nutrition, through love, through chanting, but also through almost placebo yourself to health, giving your condition love, accepting that it's given you the message that you need to hear, and then releasing it. And so your ailment goes away. And I've had practice in that myself, and I've done a lot of research, and it's something that people can do for themselves to gain better health. If it was going to be on nutrition, or say if it's women's problems, men's problems, I could tailor it if people want it to be specific, or we just all group together and see what happens organically. If someone just stands up and they've got something and we all decide that that's quite interesting, maybe not so structured as other things, maybe a little bit more fluid and organic. But if anybody has a band and just wants to sort of like ask me, send me a demo, we can have a think about it.
So what kind of music are you after? Anything
from, I don't know, my first love, punk, to soul, to funky disco, to crazy, to hippie. I don't mind. Music's music. You either like it or you don't you? Don't be specific on it.
I think everybody likes music, don't they? I think everyone's just yearning to go out to a real thing in person, aren't they, at the moment?
Yeah, or you can even do it outside. Quite like the idea of having a big talk in a field or something, or a park, or the beach. It doesn't have to be indoors.
So is there anything else that you'd like to say to the people who are watching this now and who will go on to watch this later, in terms of how they might be able to support you in this?
I don't keep a lookout for me. I become part of Gig Buddies, I think would be a really great way to everybody to get together. I'm part of Gig Buddies. If you do like music and you want to interact with people, then go to the Synergy website that Joe was talking about and sign up with Gig Buddies. That will introduce you to everybody and everything.
Wicked. Oh, I really hope you can organise this sooner rather than later so we can all get there, because we're all really gonna need it, aren't we? Okay, yeah. Lovely. Well, thanks for explaining all of this. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to hand over to Andy. So Andy's in front of the wall of ambitions and he's been writing all of this down. So let's see if he's been able to capture everything just how you'd like it.
Okay, thank you.
Hello, Emma.
Bye.
Bye.
Hello.
I like that. You know, see if Andy can capture it all. No pressure on Andy then.
But Andy, you're looking very bright. You're looking very wordy.
Wordy? Oh yes. Well, you know, words are what we've got to use. Unfortunately, that's all we have, which is fun, really, because as you well know, we communicate so much through non-words. Still, yes, this is what we have.
Non-verbal communication.
Yeah, of which there is loads. Anyway, my job, as Adam has said, is to capture as best I can and summarize what you've said and put it on to what we call an ambition calling card, which will symbolically go up on the wall of ambitions in a moment, provided that I've got this right. So what I'd like to do is just run through it with you to make sure that I have got everything you said and not misunderstood anything. Are you ready to go? Right, here we go. You would like to do health talks with, and there's an emphasis there, it's with people, not at people. That's what I've heard you say. Drawing on a wealth of knowledge that you've acquired, plus you'd like to throw in a social and party afterwards. So it's not just a talk, it's a talk and an excuse for a lovely social gathering. What could be better than that? And you did give an example. One of the examples, starting with the idea of healing yourself through the power of the mind, the whole placebo effect, positive talking and all that sort of thing. Really excellent idea. Now, when it comes to your call for help, which sounds a bit grand, but really it's just getting the idea out there. And I do like these. Sometimes the very best asks for help are sort of pretty general. They're things like, I don't know how to start, or what do you think? Now, in this case, you said very much you'd like the feedback. The feedback is the important thing. So I've written down, well, what do you think? If you're watching this now or watching this on the repeats, what do you think? Would you be interested? Having had a little listen to what Emma's saying and the ideas behind it, is this something that you might have some tips about or some advice? Or maybe some just sort of knee-jerk reactions about, you know, kind of what else you might like covered or something like that. And you did say that you kind of have a venue in mind, but as your conversation went on, you toyed with the idea of outside places and so on. So I've written there, maybe a venue. Any ideas for venue? And of course, the venue implies people. So it's the people that would come along. That's very important. You know, who might join in? Do you know people who would love to spend some time with Emma, having a conversation, drawing on this knowledge and sharing information with each other? Oh yes, and of course, live musicians. So, you know, Brighton's famous punk bands, you know, coming to join you. Other music is available, country and Western apparently, and other types as well. And you basically said Gig Buddies is one of the best pathways for finding out more. Hence the really nice, generous thing you did about saying, you know, inviting people to join big Gig Buddies. And to be honest with you, I think we're going to be doing that all evening because Gig Buddies for mental wellbeing does a lovely job. And as we all know, mental distress, discomfort, low mood, trauma, awkwardness and stuff like that, it's surprisingly common. So it's brilliant to have people who will help you accept yourself as being yourself and be able to kind of come with you on that rather nasty journey. So it's great to be able to, you know, collaborate with you. Anyway, I waffle on, Emma. In short, have I caught what you have? I caught
in short? In short, yes, you have.
Oh, great.
Yes, you have. Very eloquently as well. I could have done you with you a précis. Oh, in fact, I might just use that. Yeah, I think because I work, I'm in touch with Joe. So if people
Yes.
do want to, hello, if people do want to get in touch and do want to get involved with Gig Buddies, because it's a really worthwhile cause, and it combines both of those, mental health, they choose health, and music, and getting out and interacting with people. So if people do want to get in touch and do want to know what's going on, then go to the Synergy website, go to Gig Buddies, find Joe. That'll be perfect.
It's a great suggestion. Thank you. And it's an important thing, because as you go through this difficulty, look, someone has got our backs, and the website has appeared on the screen. Top job.
Whee, look at that.
Anyway, what I'm going to do, with your permission, is grab the ambition calling card, as we like to call them, and place it symbolically, prominently here on the wall of ambitions.
A bit further up a bit.
Bit further up a bit. Well, for you, yes.
I'm joking. I'm joking.
No, Emma, absolutely. I'm happy to do that. There we go.
Thank you.
What normally happens is you get to write this yourself. And if you have any hesitance about writing it, we have a team of amazing volunteers. I miss them. They are fantastic people. And they would normally be out there with us. We have a little picnic table, which we call the contemplation station. And they will happily sit with you and just chat things over and help you or anyone else work out the best way of writing this down. You know, they'll often ask questions, or they'll just listen. Yeah, it's a great team. And then we put these on the wall, and then people read them at their own speed. And that's important. You know, how fast or how slow you read it, the relationship you form with what Emma has put out there, this time through me, becomes your invitation to a part of her world. And that's what this wall is about. It's an invitation for
come to my world.
Yeah, sharing each other's worlds. So if you are inspired and you fancy saying a few words of encouragement, do the equivalent of grabbing a post-it note, of which there's a few around, maybe a colored pen, and scribbling down a few words of encouragement, maybe a comment saying, I've been there and I'd love to have that chat with you. Or maybe you know somebody who can actually help with things like this, somebody in charge of the venue that would be perfect, or somebody who is on top of a fantastic punk band or whatever it is, or someone else who has all that experience and knowledge and would like to share it as well. Likewise, if you'd like to help Emma or like to be a part of how this comes together, get in touch. It would be a privilege for us to make the connection. And of course, tips and advice, that's always useful. You may know something that maybe Emma doesn't. She might know it, but there's a chance she might not. And that's where the magic happens, when we tap into other people's expertise and lived experience that gives us a wider view, that gets us, helps us share everything. That's the core. And here it is on the wall of ambitions. Emma, as I have been talking, and exploring this with you, is there anything else? Has anything else occurred to you? Anything else you might like at this stage?
No, it just feels really nice. It feels like you're getting your thoughts and putting them into action, because it's what it's all about, isn't it?
That's very much the kind of feedback we get. Some people will do this and discover it's not right. It's not what they wanted to do. But the process of doing this has helped them explore it. Others have done this and have gone on to launch fantastic projects, or my favorite example has found a way of just becoming a little bit more confident in themselves. And I really respect the person who did that, who put up an ambition saying, I just want to be a little bit more confident. That was a fantastic ambition, which really brought it home, because the people out there shared really useful comments, really supportive stuff. And this is what this is about. Emma, then, with your permission, what I'd like to do is bring Adam back in to share the screen with us. There he is, our friend and colleague, Adam. Adam, I have a question for you. And my question for you is, because they can't come round to my secret location here hidden in deepest, darkest 5 ways, and I can't give them any of these colored pens, nor any of these post-it notes myself, how could people get in touch with us and therefore Emma?
Well, if you do have any comments or any support that you'd like to offer Emma, then it couldn't be easier. So you're watching this on Facebook or on YouTube, most probably. So all you have to do is comment underneath the video and we'll receive it. So just like Liana said a quick good evening,
Hi,
it will
Liana.
appear and we can share it with everybody. Good evening, Liana. We'll speak to you later.
Wow.
So that's one easy way to do it. Another way to do it is to click on the link that you'll find underneath or on top of or around somewhere around this video. Click on that link and you'll actually join us here on this broadcasting platform. You'll be in a backstage area and we can bring you in so you can share your support in person. Or the other thing you can do, if you like WhatsApp, see that number right there? Just type your message to that on WhatsApp. Agatha is waiting for those messages and Agatha will pass those on to us. Thank you very much for being there, Agatha. Lovely. Well, I think we can actually bring in Joe, Andy. So we'll come back to you in a little bit, Andy. But Joe has got a suggestion or two, Joe.
Hi. Hi, Emma.
Hey, Joe.
Great to see you in the virtual world. Yeah. Now, Emma and I obviously know each other through Gig Buddies, and she's been absolutely amazing. She kind of took on this big role doing all the cooking in the kitchen for the Synergy sessions and helped me organise a really nice night that we had at the Rose Hill Tavern for Christmas, where we had loads of our buddies came down. We had loads of bands. And kind of from that, I've been kind of thinking about some ideas. I'm just going to talk to you now, Emma, really. And I had this idea to do a series of events, like 6 events, all themed. Haven't really thought what those themes are going to be yet.
Right.
A kind of a sort of a day event. So you'd have some bands, some talks, a bit TED style talk.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe like some kind of poetry. A sort of multimedia creative day, potentially outside. So I had already started thinking about potentially some venues. I thought about the outdoor theatre we could use, or maybe one of the parks. I'm sure there'll be like places that we could definitely go to make this happen.
I've got a few in mind.
Yeah, so I think it's like a definite, and you've got like you say, you've got a lot of life experience around like holistic health, you know.
Of life experience.
Yeah, exactly. And kind of ways of, like, healing yourself or making yourself feel better. Like you say, like positive thinking, sort of nutrition, diet, exercise, all that sort of stuff. So
yeah,
like
those are things little things you can do yourself. The breathing, kinesiology exercises make yourself feel better. Screaming, shouting at the moon, singing to the moon.
Yeah, anything. Right. Yeah, we could have a mass shout, couldn't we? Do you remember at the Christmas do when Mary led the impromptu sing along?
Oh yeah,
it was amazing. So one of our other buddies, Adam, so quite a lot of the Gig Buddies performed at this event we had, and Mary said, "Oh, do you think I could do like an impromptu sing along?" I was like, "Yeah, sounds really good." And she literally got the whole pub singing. It was amazing, and you could see that joy coming out, just coming out into the room. It was really kind of spontaneous, not really that kind of planned or organised or anything, but it worked really well. And again, it created that real sort of sense of unity, and obviously the Rose.
Everybody was holding arms. Everybody was like had their arms around each other singing. That was really sweet as well. So we all felt connected and felt the love.
It really was. It was a really beautiful moment, wasn't it? So obviously, like coming out of the lockdown, we need to kind of work out how to do everything safely. But I feel like with your idea and sort of the Gig Buddies fam around you. And obviously we've got like loads of connections with different bands and different genres of music we could get involved. We could pull together some like really brilliant events like that, you know, where your idea is kind of at the heart of it around giving talks, but that are in a much more sort of dynamic way than just someone standing up giving a talk.
Yes, exactly. Fun way. Like, exactly. Pulling it together.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know, I didn't know about this. So this is great. I mean, this is so great.
How about that, Emma?
That sounds amazing. Amazing. Everything I wanted, everything on my ambition board is already happening. That's how quick it is.
Wow.
Now
thank you so much, Joe. Thank you, Joe. We'll come back to you a little bit later. We've got our next participant to go to, but Emma, we'll pass on any more support that comes our way, and do let us know when the events are up and running, because we want to be there.
Okay, we'll do. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Thanks, Emma.
Cheers, bye.
Wicked. Okay. So, and a comment again from Liana for Emma. I will come to the event, says Liana. So you've already got your first customer. Thanks, Liana. Okay, so that's our first participant down. We've still got several to come in this Brighton and Hove Hope Exchange. And the next one is Phoenix. Hello, Phoenix.
Hi.
How are you doing?
Can you hear me? Yep. Good. Yeah, I'm good, thank you.
Lovely. Okay, now we've already been talking, and I already love what you want to do, but I'm going to keep stum, and I'm going to let you explain what it is that you're hoping to do. So tell us, what is the goal or the idea that you have that you bring into this event tonight?
Well, yeah, so I'll talk about that. But it was great, since I talked to you, I actually come up with another idea within it, which is really great. Yeah, so basically, I'm hoping to go back out to Calais and work with Refugee Community Kitchen, RCK. They are a very grassroots organisation run by a small group of dedicated core people who keep it all going. They've just managed to open up again due to COVID-19. They've gone out with a small crew at the moment, and so they're not accepting other volunteers at the moment, but I've come up with a plan that I'd like to go out over Christmas and New Year period, and that's quite often they need people around that time, because it's cold weather, so it's not as appealing, and you know, lots of people go home for Christmas, and lots of volunteers wouldn't be available at Christmas. So yeah, I've been wanting to go back out for a while. So going out there, you need to fund your own accommodation, you need to fund your own trip, and I've often completely fully funded it myself, plus raised money on top for donations. This time I'm fundraising myself for my expenses, plus I want to raise money to take with me, or to take food, because I'm going out with a friend. We're hoping that we're going to be able to go out by then. I'm hoping that they're going to be accepting people by then. I'm going to be going out for a friend. We've got a vehicle, so we can fill the vehicle up with whatever's needed and ask people for donations at the time. Fill the vehicle up, or buy stuff here that's sometimes cheaper to buy here than it is in France. And so, yeah, the ambition is to go back out. My friend wants to go for a week because she wants to see what it's like for her. And then I'd like to go out again. But basically, one of the ideas I came up with within this, so there's all different ways I fundraise. So usually, quite often, I fundraise by I'm a vegan chef. I'm currently not working because of mental health issues, so I can do sporadic volunteering occasionally, and I can do bits and bobs, but like I've not been able to work full time or work much at the moment. So I do what's manageable for me in the way that I can contribute. So one of the things is I occasionally make truffle boxes and sell those, and everything but the cost of the ingredients goes towards my fund. Hey,
there they are. Now, I had to share this because when you sent me that photo, my jaw dropped to the floor. Now, Andy knows how much I love puddings, I love desserts, I love chocolate, and I saw them and I just thought, I've got to have them. And not only do they look amazingly delicious, but it's raising funds so that you can get out to Calais to support refugees. Now, I couldn't think of a better reason to stuff my face full of chocolate.
Well, yeah, I can't think of one either.
So sometimes you make these, right? So how can people get some for themselves?
Well, they can. I've already got a load of orders since I put it out there, actually, since yesterday, which is brilliant. I think some friends of mine who like my truffles have probably been waiting for a while now for me to do them again. But people can order directly from me via Messenger on Facebook, or they could email me. So I can put my email out. So I sell those, and usually ask other people. I've done things like I did a walk I was walking the Southwest Coast for my mental health and to raise some money as well. But one of the ideas I came up with, actually, because so there's quite often, I'm on quite a limited budget because I'm not working. So I have the ability to organize and get out there and do a week or so. But I need help funding it, because I have funded it myself in the past, but actually getting there, paying your accommodation, paying the ferry, that all costs quite a bit of money. So what the idea I thought about is like matching people up, because there's quite often people who want to do something, but they don't have time. They don't have the time, but they might have the money. So like a buddy system of matching people up where they can support someone to go out there is a really good idea, because there was a few group things around. Like there was a Buddhist group that did a sangha that was going out there as a kind of working retreat, but so that was before COVID-19, and so that got cancelled. And there's a convoy that goes from Essex where it groups people together, and so people can go out together. But yeah, sort of linking people up, because I think there's a lot of energy to harness at the moment. And the thing with Refugee Community Kitchen, it's something really kind of, what's the word, like something you can get involved with, where you're seeing directly your contribution and what a difference it's making, and so you're really connected. So the person that goes out and volunteers is really connected to how they're helping. And the thing is, at the moment, there's so much in terms of like harnessing the anti-racism energy at the moment. And supporting refugees, that's something. When people are going, oh, what can I do? And obviously there's a whole different range of things people can do at the moment to kind of work on sort of making a commitment to being actively anti-racist. And one of those things is supporting refugees. So yeah, I think we're still on the first question. I think I don't know if we're going into the second one a bit.
No, well, what I'd love to know is, so there are kind of two ambitions here, aren't there? There's one which is about actually just wanting to get out there yourself, and then also this buddying scheme. So in terms of getting out there yourself, you need funds, and so one of the ways is to sell some truffles. So if anybody out there does want some of these truffles, then just leave a comment on Facebook or on YouTube, and then I'll connect you through to Phoenix. So I wonder how people could help you in terms of the buddy scheme that you're thinking of. How could people support that idea?
Yeah, I mean, it's literally it just came to me because I kept thinking of, yeah, there's lots of people that want to do something, but yeah, so there's people that have got time but not the money, and people that have got money but not the time. So yeah, maybe setting up. I mean, there's a couple of Facebook pages for like lift shares and things like that, but yeah, I'm thinking, yeah, like it's more like sort of like a sponsor system in a way, because people that want to go out there for longer, obviously, if people want to go out for like a couple of months, or yeah, so I think, yeah, being people supporting people that, yeah, want to give the time but don't have the money to kind of finance that. Yeah, so maybe setting up the problem I have is I'm literally aiming to come off Facebook in a month. So so this whole setting up a page, I don't know how that would work for me, but
so you might need somebody who does like using Facebook to take on that side of things.
Yeah, so maybe someone that wants to take it on and do it on Facebook.
I bet you're not the first person to come up with a similar, or who has spotted the need to match people who want to support the refugee cause with people who are willing and able to go out and actually support refugees in the camps. So I bet there are other people out there, and if you're one of them watching, get in touch, you know, and let's connect you with Phoenix and see what we can make happen, I think. So Phoenix, why is the refugee cause so important to you?
Well, basically, I'll just give you a. I wrote a blog about my experience. So if people want to find my blog and look back on it, I think it's still accessible.
What's it called?
Well, at the time, I was called Sammy. So it's called Sammy, a monkey de love, go wandering blogspot.com.
Wow.
And it was my personal blog, but I did a post about my experience. So basically, in 2016, I went out to Calais in April with a friend, and at the time, the jungle, what was called the jungle camp, still existed. And it was funny because I didn't know much about Refugee Community Kitchen. I actually went out to help in the warehouse in terms of sorting out clothes and sorting out tents and things like that. So I went out to work with L'Auberge de Migrants and help refugees. And RCK were in the same warehouse. But funnily enough, I decided to go with my friend, and I'd said, oh, you know, I'm happy to do this. I'm not going to volunteer to do food because that's what I always do. I'm going to go and try something different. But it was really funny because the first day I turned up at the warehouse, I bumped into a really good old friend of mine who was working with RCK, and they said, why are you not in the kitchen? And I was like, oh, well, I thought I'd try and do something different. And they said, oh, come and meet the people in the kitchen. And so they took me to the kitchen, and 2 days later, I was in the kitchen cooking. And at the time we were cooking for about 2,000 meals. And yeah, I say a lot about it in my blog. Like, why is it important to me? Because I think it's horrific how refugees and asylum seekers are treated. And, you know, it's all connected in with racism and dehumanizing people. And I'm a human being, and this could happen to me. Like, it could happen to anyone. And those people deserve to be, they're humans like me, and they deserve to be treated like everyone else, and they deserve to be taken care of and looked after. And it's just horrendous the way people are treated when they, and, you know, a lot of these people are struggling with, they've already had to make these horrendous life-changing journeys, and they've had trauma, and then they have to cope with hostile environment when they actually get to some kind of safety, but it's not actual safety because they're then having, because a lot of the refugees at the moment are just out on this, because the camp was disbanded a long time ago now, and a lot of them are kind of scattered all over the place and homeless, and the tents and sleeping bags have to be constantly being replaced, and it's not they're human beings that need to be looked after like everyone else, and they're running from horrific things, and they should be given refuge and treated with respect and care. So it's just like, and it's, for me, it's when I went over there, what I liked about it is, I've come up through different activist scenes, and what I liked about it was it kind of brought lots of different people together. Like when I was in the warehouse and when we were cooking, there was all kinds of people. There was a French anarcho guy who was homeless. There were Christians. There were doctors coming for the weekend just to do the washing up. There were hippies, professionals, just everyone coming together, and it kind of gave me hope for humanity because it was just people coming together and doing something. And some people would literally take use their weekend time off and just go there for 2 days to help out, like some professional people. I went out there a couple of times that year, 2016. I can't believe it's so long ago now, but I went out for a week at a time, once in April and then once in July, and where we're cooking was never kind of in the camp. Obviously the camp doesn't exist now, but I found it an incredible experience, and how it just always got done as well. And they're kind of basically, when I showed the second time I showed up, they run from they run on a basis of continuously just asking people for help and hoping that they get enough help as they go along all the time. And so when I turned up, they didn't have much vegetables left. But 2 of us had turned up and we brought some money with us. So we immediately went to a cash and carry and bought whatever we could. And then later that night, some guy who got stuck on the ferry terminal bit had turned up at 12 o'clock at night with a van load of vegetables from cafes at a festival. He'd literally, they'd finished the festival. The cafes had given what they had left over, and they put it all in his car, and he drove straight to Calais and brought this food. So it's kind of it runs like that basically, and also sometimes they'll have loads of volunteers and sometimes they'll have hardly any, but it gets done. Yeah, and
it's an emotional roller coaster, isn't it, as well? You get all the emotions into one period of time when you're volunteering in that kind of space, and you learn a lot from it, a lot of good things and a lot of bad things. Lovely. Thank you so much for explaining all of this, Phoenix. So Andy has been distilling this down to a few sentences. So let's see what he's come up with. Andy.
Hello, Phoenix.
Hi.
Thanks for joining us this evening. And thank you for bringing a couple of really interesting ambitions. My job, as you know, is to try and write this down on your behalf. Normally, we'd give you pens, papers, and a nice place to sit, and you could write it yourself. So I'm hoping that I've caught what you said just about right. What I'd like to do, if it's okay with you, is just check through what I've written and make sure that I have actually understood what you were saying. Are you okay for that?
Yep.
Great. Okay, so there's a couple of things here that I've heard. One is, as a vegan chef with time available, you want to go to Calais. You want to go back to Calais to work in the Refugee Community Kitchen, the RCK, to cook. And you're really focusing at the moment on trying to be out there for Christmas and the New Year. That's sort of where your focus is just at the moment. And this is something that you have to fund yourself. And thank you for explaining that so clearly. And also thank you for bringing along the lovely idea of the truffle boxes that you have been making. It looked fantastic. Such a brilliant picture to show on the screen. So going from there, what I understand as being your call for help around basically the truffle boxes and selling them is basically, please help Phoenix raise funds. And the funds are not just for themselves to survive, to actually pay for accommodation and to keep alive, but also to get some supplies out there. And hence the stories you told us just now about where supplies can come from and how they're so needed. So you being able to buy cheaper supplies over here and take them out there, that's going to be a wonderful benefit if you can raise funds for that as well. And your pathway for doing that is selling your truffle boxes, those delicious looking things. So the call for help really is, well, on one level, it's please buy these truffle boxes. But of course, if you can help Phoenix sell them, let other people know that they are making these handmade truffles and so on, and they are available, and that Phoenix is taking more orders, then please do so. And hopefully, Phoenix, that you're able to make enough extra money off of those to be able to fund yourself out there, as well as fill a vehicle full of supplies. Not just yourself, but your friend as well in the first place for that first week. Though, of course, as you've rightly said, you'd like to go for longer as well. So there's the first ambition that you brought to us. The second one is a fascinating one, and it's really lovely to have ambitions that are well thought out, but also new ideas. And I'm hearing quite a seed of an idea here. This is, as you said, just occurred to you. And that's to do some kind of buddying scheme. No idea what that might actually mean, but with the possibility of connecting people who value and appreciate what's going on in RCK, in the Refugee Community Kitchen, and the support for refugees, but don't have the time to get out there, but may be able to sponsor volunteers or be able to buddy volunteers in some way. It's a way of being able to reach out without going out there themselves. How you do that, that's not really known. So in the first place, it's a simple question of any ideas on how to put this buddying scheme together. You yourself have said that you might have considered doing it on Facebook, but you're stepping down from Facebook in a week or so. I don't blame you. Facebook can be pretty addictive. And it serves its place in the right sort of times. So maybe if there's someone out there who loves the idea, who is a doer, who can make a site or make something like that to help this connection going on, then it would be lovely to connect them to you so you can share the idea and help them create that idea together. Phoenix, have I caught what you've said correctly?
Yes. Yes, very good.
Thank you.
Yeah, there's something I forgot to mention, which is actually the reason why I ended up being connected with Adam and actually doing this chat today. Was next. So this is for Brighton people, just to get it out there. We're having a yard sale in the Hanover area. There's a general yard sale. There's about 158 houses involved. Yes. So people are just going to be putting stuff in front of their house, really. So I'm going to be selling bits and bobs, bric-a-brac, secondhand stuff. But I'm also, because I'm a cook, I'm going to be selling some cakes and savouries.
Oh, fantastic.
And probably have my truffle boxes available there as well.
Great.
So yeah, that's one of my other fundraisers as well.
That's really good to know. Yes.
Yeah, so just getting the word out about that, and you can and anyone that is interested can come and chat to me, because it'll all be socially distant. You know, people can keep apart from each other, and I'll be wearing a mask and gloves and things. But yeah, it's, there's our street is gonna have about 11 stalls on it. But yeah, mine, all the proceeds from my stall will go towards my fund, basically.
Yeah, funding your trip out to RCK, the Refugee Community Kitchen. Phoenix, if it's okay with you, I'm going to swap cameras now. And I get to wave to you. Hi, this is what I look like, by the way. It's nice to see you. Really good to meet you. I saw you
earlier, actually, because I was watching the other video.
Righto. Well, that's good. What I'd like to do is take your ambition calling card, which is the name we have for these sheets of paper, and put it nice and prominent on the wall of ambitions. You ready for me to do that?
Yep.
While I'm doing that, please remind me, what is the date of the Hanover-wide yard sale?
That's on Saturday, the 11th of July. So not this Saturday, next Saturday.
Saturday, next Saturday.
Yeah, I think from 9 until 4.
Right, excellent. Which street are you on? Do you mind my asking? Is it okay to say?
Hanover Terrace.
Hanover Terrace. Right, you've heard it here first, folks. Go check out Hanover Terrace on the 11th. That's Saturday, not this Saturday, but next Saturday. Look out for the truffle boxes. You won't be able to miss them. They look fantastic. Watch out for Phoenix and have a chat and so on. Or get in contact here as well. And this is what this wall is about, Phoenix. As you've heard me say, this is our wall of ambition. It's about 7.5 foot tall. It's as wide as my arms. And it goes around the city with us, or we go around the city with it. And the idea is that it's a very gentle way of allowing people to share ideas about their ambitions. And of course, we entice, often with nibbles and delicious things like cupcakes, which are not as good as your food, but still good, and bring them in and give them the opportunity to just read their way through the wall, you know, kind of at their own speed. And whilst they're reading, if they get inspired and want to leave a few comments, that's brilliant. And to help with that, we often have loads of coloured pens. I've got a pocket full of them here, and multicolored Post-it notes just left around, lying around. And we invite people to leave maybe a few words of encouragement or some tips and advice. Now, as you say, the Cali jungle is gone, but I know other people who've been out there when it was the Cali jungle. Some have been out there with some other fantastic projects. Hummingbird had an art project out there. Good friend of mine, Chris,
Hummingbird is actually the first kind of, that was my initial kind of hearing about the jungle, and they were the first people I donated to from my truffle selling.
Yeah, brilliant. And a lovely group of people as well. Who you know, my friend, Chris has talked about how much what you're doing is needed out there, and there's still a need, clearly. Yes, so tips and advice. So if you've been out there and you know some particularly brilliant ways that Phoenix can raise funds to get out there as well, that would be really useful. On top of the truffle boxes, it may be that you are the perfect buddy and you could sponsor Phoenix to go, which would be fantastic. Or other ideas.
There could be different types of, and there could be different elements to being a buddy, like supporting the person while they're out there, because sometimes it can be, like say, it can be like an emotional roller coaster doing that kind of work. So it could be someone that they check in with, but also the financial support, and it's kind of like adopting someone to do it, or sponsoring someone, you know.
There's a lot of truth in what you said, and certainly the friend I'm talking about, when he came back, he was pretty emotionally distraught about what he'd seen. So that kind of support is essential. It's not just the money. It's this human contact, reminding you to look after yourself as you're reaching out to look after others and stuff like that. Very important. And of course, Oh, right. I'll just finish what I'm saying then. And
Sorry,
of course,
sorry.
comments about people who can actually help. So if, for example, you have a place that could sell Phoenix's truffle boxes, because you have a store or something, and you'd be more than happy to just sell them and give the full proceeds through to help support Phoenix, that would be fantastic as well, I'm sure. On top of the orders.
Yeah, at the moment I can't, as in I have mental health issues, so I have to manage my energy as well. So
Yes.
I can't turn the truffle box thing into a big thing. And also I haven't got my kitchen registered certified at the moment. But also I can't do it as a huge thing. It's kind of one element of it, which I do a batch every now and again.
That's good to know, and it's very important that we get the right pacing, isn't it?
Yeah. And I think for me the important thing about today was coming on just like getting that awareness about RCK for people who don't know about them, because there are so many different ways you can support them. So at the moment they need money for cleaning products, because obviously they have a lot of extra, because of COVID-19 they have a lot of extra cleaning and a lot of extra things that they need. So there's so many different ways you can support them. You can do your own fundraisers for them. You can go out and volunteer. You could support someone else to volunteer. You could they also have, this is important to mention, they have like a monthly supporters thing, so people that don't that give them money every month. So they have a justice. Yeah.
Great, Phoenix, thank you very much. What we need to do now is let people know how they can get in touch with you through the Wall of Ambition. And what I like to do is I like to bring back my friend and colleague Adam, who will magically appear in the middle between us. And Adam, I get to ask you, would you be kind enough to remind people? Would you be kind enough to remind people the many ways that they can get in touch with us and therefore Phoenix?
Yes. So there are 3 ways. The first one is such an easy thing to do. All you have to do is comment underneath the Facebook Live video you're watching, or comment on YouTube. Of course, if you're not watching this live, this won't work. But if you are watching live, then all you have to do is type a comment, send it as you normally would, and it will appear. So like as soon as you started talking about your ambition, Maha just said, yep, thumbs up from me. So for example, we can then share it like that. Second way to get in touch is by clicking on the link that you'll find accompanying this video, and that will actually bring you into this broadcast area. You'll be in a backstage area, just like Liana is right now, who's our next participant, and then we'll be able to bring you in. And then the third thing you can do, quick, it's going to disappear, that WhatsApp number there. It'll come back around on the bottom of your screen. So Agatha, our wonderful volunteer, is waiting for your messages on WhatsApp, and she can pass them on as well. So as I said, Phoenix, so people will be watching this not live, so they'll be watching it in a week or so. And so if any more support comes in for you, then we'll be sure to pass it on. And we'll make a social media post about this as well, so we can try and garner some more support for you. I just wanted to share, because you mentioned Hummingbird, and you might be interested, and people watching might be interested to take a look back at our Refugee Week event that we did with Hummingbird. We actually partnered with them. So this is the link here. Now, if you go to the Ambigo Facebook page, you'll actually find the link as a comment. So click on that and it will take you to the video of our Refugee Week event with Hummingbird Project, where a couple of their young leaders were involved. And we had a couple of people sharing their experiences as refugees of achieving a goal, idea or ambition. So that was wonderful to hear. And then we also had some people come on and share their own goals and ambitions that they wanted to get support with. So check that out if you fancy it. It's a very inspiring event that we did at the very start of Refugee Week, which was nearly 3 weeks ago now. So yeah, take a look at that if you want to. In the meantime, I'm looking forward to getting my hands on your truffles, Phoenix. That's not a euphemism if you're just joining us. These are actually delicious truffles that Phoenix makes. And just before you go, I think we best have another look at them as well. And if you want to get in touch and actually get some of these truffles from Phoenix, which, how much are you selling them for, Phoenix?
I was selling them. I've always sold them for £10, but this time, because of COVID-19, and some people have. It's been difficult for people generally. I'm charging £8.50 for them, and they come in this lovely box. lovely presented. The one in the middle might be different. It might be an ordinary truffle, because that's actually a raw truffle that I used to make.
Delicious.
Terrific. Okay, so if you want to get hold of these truffles just like I do, then again, just leave a comment or just get in touch with Ambergo, either on YouTube, on Facebook, or wherever you can find us, and we'll connect you through.
I put an advert out on the Hanover Community Notice Board on Facebook, so they can find the ad on there as well. But I just wanted to shout out for the if you want to have a look at Refugee Community Kitchen. So their webpage is www.refugeecommunitykitchen.com, and they're Refugee Community Kitchen on Facebook. And again, my blog, which I think is still available, is Sammy with a Y and Monkey love go wandering.blogspot.com. And I did a blog post.
What you can do, Phoenix, is if you go to the Ambergo Facebook page and actually paste that in as a comment, then everybody can access it, because it's quite a long URL and it's a bit tricky to remember. So if you could do that, that'd be great, and everyone can have a look.
Yeah, I mean, it's an old blog. It's from 4 years ago. So Refugee Community Kitchen has changed a lot since then, but it's a nice kind of personal account of the experience at the time, you know. But yeah, they post a lot on their page. They post a lot of videos and updates about what they need and stuff. And what's good about having money to take supplies over, or take money with me to give them, is that we can get exactly what they need at the time. So if I turn up and they need sacks of onions or they need sacks of rice, we can go and get exactly what they need at the time.
Thanks so much for sharing all of this, Phoenix. It's been wonderful talking to you, and
Thank you.
All the best of luck with it.
Yeah, and this all came because I accidentally shared something I was meant to put on my own Facebook page.
Yep, and you put it in the Hanover Community Group page instead, and I saw it and thought, right, let's get in touch, because that sounds amazing. Thanks so much, Phoenix. We'll be in touch soon.
Thank you. Take care.
Thanks. Cool. Right, a couple of wonderful ambitions so far. Hey, Andy, should we delve into a third?
Let's.
Okay, so for that we have to go to Liana. Hey, Liana.
Hello. Hi, Adam. Hello, everyone.
So you're an old friend of ours. You actually came to one of our events. I'm going to say, it's almost exactly 3 years ago. You came to one of the first Ambergo events.
It was the time before I had kids, and now I have 2, so it must have been a long time ago.
Wow. Okay, well, it must be bedtime for them. So thank you so much for giving us some of your time. Tell us, what is it that you would like to do? What is your goal or ambition you'd like to share?
So, first, thank you so much for having me. And Adam, your support from yesterday to before yesterday, it all kind of has a new level now. But let me start with introducing myself, because it takes a while to explain what I want. I'll try not to be too long. So I run an online school of English. I'm from Russia originally, and I teach English to Russians. And the part of my trainings teaching English is English practice, where people come on Skype groups and talk to each other in English. And I've been wanting forever to partner up my students who are talking in English with English native speakers. And I was thinking maybe some people who, let's say, older and stay home and don't have much ability to go out to volunteer or to talk to someone would be a good opportunity for them to talk to my students. So one of these groups has English practice and the other one has a human interaction. And I strongly believe people need to talk to each other, and COVID-19 showed us it even more. But even before that I thought everyone misses talking to each other. So I was trying to pitch this idea for a long time, and nothing kind of came out of it. But then accidentally a friend of mine asked me if I can support a school in Uganda. And what I found out a few days ago, that there is a school in Uganda, it's like a nursery and a primary school, and it's just beyond poverty. There is no electricity, there are no teachers, there is nothing. And so this school needs 2 teachers, and a salary a month is $45 a month. And for the moment, the school lives with a donation from people. So then I thought, in order to help the school, would it be nice if I could find anyone who's fluent in English, so someone from England of any nationalities, but someone who's fluent in English, if people can talk to my students on Skype, on Zoom, on WhatsApp, any platform, any way where people are at home and talk how it's comfortable for them. And then my students, they have budget for English learning, can make a donation to the school. So my original ambition, my original idea was donations are coming from the Russian students who are learning English, and people who are fluent in English volunteer their time to make it. One talk to each other and the other one donates money. But now thinking about that, I think actually, because I have a lot of students and I've been teaching English for the last 8 years and I've had a few thousands of students, so I could, with the same scheme, I could support, I don't know, would be nice to support 50 schools. So in order to get there, I need 100 people who can volunteer their time on Skype, on Zoom, on WhatsApp, as a one-off thing or a monthly, weekly thing, just to talk. So helps a few groups of people at the same time, and that's my ambition.
Love it. Okay, so let's recap a little bit, because it makes perfect sense, but there are a few different kind of connections, aren't there? There are a few links. So let's recap. So what would happen? Well, first of all, you have your language school and you have students that are learning English, and they need to practice English. So you want to connect them with native English speakers, so they don't have to be English, but a fluent English speaker, so that they can practice. And the students will donate some money to the school in Uganda in return for receiving the benefit of practicing their English with a fluent English speaker. So tell us a little bit more about this school in Uganda and the needs that they have. I mean, it's worth re-emphasizing the figure that blows me away that you said, that a monthly salary for a teacher is $45. So we're talking like 30 to 35 pounds, right?
Month. Yes. So this is how it started. There is this guy, his name is Elias, and there are no schools, no nurseries in Uganda that are state schools, so there is no education. And then once he had, and he's a tour guide, and he had a group of tourists from England, and one lady pointed out why there are so many kids, and he said, because traditionally in Uganda everyone has 5-7 kids, and those who don't, they're kind of not looked, kind of they expected to have more, and there are no nurseries. And there was one English lady who was amazed by that, and she said that they need to build a school, and she was ready to sponsor this, and this is what she's been doing for a while, and it cost them around £600 a month to cover everything, including food for these families and school books and teachers, etc. And then unfortunately she died, so they managed to build this school, and it existed for I think 3 or 4 years. And now the guy who runs the school, he's in his early 20s. He has a job at some hotel, and his salary is $130. He lives with $30 a month himself, and then he gives $100 to the school to pay salaries of 2 people, books, etc. So it's like living in England. I'm from Russia. Russia is not a very wealthy country, but this is just beyond poverty, beyond imagination. How can you have like a school with no electricity, a school with no desk, with no pen? So basically there is nothing. And I mean, obviously in Africa people don't live the same way as they live in the Western countries, but still I've never realized that this is the standard, this is what is normal there. And I thought, well, if we can help, let's help. And I mean, I transferred a bit of money myself, and I can make a donation here and there, but there are hundreds of schools like this, and there are many more probably children with no schools at all. So, and there are millions of English learners around the world. In every other country, people learn English as a part of their school kind of curriculum, and then they hire tutors, and then there is money in this. And then if we put these 2 niches together, I think something good can be done there.
Mm-hmm. So really simply put, you need people to volunteer their time just to have a chat with some of your students, right?
Yes, and then it requires no skills, no preparation. It can be like with no education, anything. So because for most of my students, this kind of talks will be first time ever where they're talking one-to-one to a person from who's a native speaker of English. And for my students, it will be like such a big event when they can talk to someone in English, and that it will help them with their self-confidence, and then they'll practice. So when they have, let's say, a job interview in English, they'll feel more confident. But for anyone who speaks English fluently, you need zero experience and zero skills at all, because just by talking, it can be about anything, or you don't even need to you don't want to share your details at all. You can just ask questions. You can say, so tell me, why are you learning English? Or what did you do yesterday? And every time I talk about this idea, people always say, well, yes, but I wonder if I'm good enough, will I be able to make no lessons, nothing. Just you talk like you would normally talk, and that's already great, and it's something kind of big.
And what about the technology? Is this on the phone or is this on the computer? How can people connect?
So it can be either on the phone or computer, whatever works for people. So ideally that no one should be paying for that. So either Skype or Zoom or WhatsApp or Facebook messages, or not the phone call we need to charge money. But yes, anything. I mean, with my students, they're kind of more familiar with Skype, but if they need to, they can learn Zoom and WhatsApp, and that's it. Like whatever else is there.
And how can they get in touch? What would be the best way?
To contact me on Facebook.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so for those people watching live, or actually even if you're not watching live, if you're watching this in the future, then you will probably see on the Ambigo page underneath this video, then Liana has actually commented. So get in touch with Liana, and if you can't find her, then just send us a message and we'll connect you. So why is it important to you, Liana, to use your professional skill? So your professional skill is that you set up this language school. Why is it important to you to use that to do good?
It just shocks me that there are places still that has no access to education, and I have 2 kids, and I want them to be kind, caring people, and I'm happy to live in the UK where there is an access to free education, and it's so obvious that you don't even think that some way it can be different. So yes, I want, if whatever I could, I mean, not hugely, but whatever I can do for more children to have education, because I'm a mom myself, and also I want to set some positive example for my children. They're small now, but when you start somewhere, then to say to them, listen, life is not only about you, there are problems in the world, get over yourself and go there and help someone and do something. It's not the place to be miserable about how little likes you have on Instagram. Just do something good, and then the best way always seems to be your own example. So my plan is to be a good example for my kids. Hopefully, I'll get there.
Yeah, well, it certainly sounds like it's going to be a big help to the people in the school in Uganda. So just before we go to Andy, might as well remind everybody now, or for those who are just joining us, because we get a little counter on the corner of our screen, and we're broadcasting this in several places, so we see people are joining the conversation all the time. So if you want to get in touch, if you are interested in the idea of helping Liana to help not only her students, but also the pupils at the primary school in Uganda, and going on into the future as hopefully this grows, other schools as well, then you can get in touch in 3 ways. You can leave a comment underneath the Facebook video you're watching, or leave a comment on YouTube if that's where you're viewing this, or you can click on the link that's right next to this video and you'll join us here in this broadcast area, and we'll be able to have a little quick chat with you. Or you can send a message on WhatsApp to Agatha. I've just heard my WhatsApp go boom, so somebody sent a message. So you can do that as well, and we'll connect you with Liana. So let's go to Andy, who is writing all of this down. Let's see what he's got.
Hello, Liana.
Hello, Andy.
It's so nice to see you. Thank you for joining us this evening. And as Adam, It's a shared pleasure. What can I say? And as Adam has said, my role here is to do the very best I can to try and summarize your ambition on one of our little sheets of paper, which we call an ambition calling card. There it is in full glory, written in my bestest scrawled handwriting as well as I can whilst listening to what you're saying. What I need to do is just check with you what I've written to make sure that I have really understood your ambition, the project you want to do. And of course, if need be, make a few amendments, corrections, whatever comes up. Are you okay for me to go through this with you?
Yes, please.
Right. Well, Liana, you run an online English language school, or you provide that part of it. That's just part of the background. Now, there's parts to this. One of the things you want is to partner students with native English speakers, basically to give them a chance to practice. That's a nice, simple idea. There's something very elegant about your ambition, by the way. I'll say that now. You would also like to support a specific school in Uganda that is currently run on donations only and is in particular need. It can be very cozy for us here in the West. We have all this infrastructure and so on. So it's useful that you are able to tell us the situation that school is in and just how much of a need there is out there. So the second part of that ambition is your wish to support it. And so it comes together with, you would like to take donations from your students for time talking with native speakers in order to raise money for the Ugandan school. Now, you've said that there's money there. So really, the students would be able to purchase some kind of opportunity for practicing speaking English in conversational situations. What you have innovatively done, in my opinion, is spotted that you can channel that money through so that the students get what they need, and you can also support the Ugandan school in the first place. And if this takes off, other particular schools in other needy areas where education is sadly neglected or underfunded. So when it comes to the help, your call for help, really it boils down to people to give some time, half an hour or so, to have a conversation with one or many of your students, to actually be able to learn. And it's such a low skill conversational opportunity. There's nothing to be afraid of here except talking with someone who will be practicing their English through technology that we're all beginning to get used to, whether we like it or not. And I'm not sure whether I do like it or not, but that's another story. So really, if you can give time, watching this, if you can actually sort of give some time, which could almost be any time of the day, and Liana will help schedule that. Or if you know someone else, somebody in your family or some other people, who would also be able to do this and could give that half hour at a point and so on, then give them a nudge to get in touch, as well as please get in touch yourself. It is as simple as that. It's a lovely, simple request. And of course, we always say this, Liana, if people have been through this sort of journey as well, and they have some additional tips for you, we always invite that. Maybe there's something out there that they know because they've gone through a fundraising process themselves, and they might be able to, who knows, they may be able to find ways of match funding so that every money that comes in, that someone else might be able to match that. It increased the value of what you're doing. Other tips like that, of course, I don't know because I'm not involved in it, but this is the magic of Ambigo. People may have tips and advice that we haven't even thought of that will make your ambition so much more effective. Okay, so that's what I've written down. Have I missed anything, or have I misunderstood anything?
Oh, you did great. No, it's all perfect.
That's great. And what I'm going to do then is do the usual thing of swapping cameras. There it is. Hello. It's nice to see you again, actually.
Nice to see you too.
There we go. Right, I have the wall. This is the grand wall of ambitions, the Ambigo Wall of Ambitions. And I have your ambition calling card, or rather the card I have attempted to scribe for you. I'm going to take that. I'm going to plant it on the wall. Are you okay for me to do that?
Yes, please.
I somehow feel we should have a drum roll or something like that. Well done. Here it is. Now, what happens is, normally we take this wall out with us. We stand around in public spaces. We loiter on street corners. We try and make an amusing nuisance of ourselves with a whole load of cupcakes and nibbles and other stuff like that.
We all music times.
Sometimes with music. There's a sort of teenage adolescent choir who've been out with us once or twice, and it's seriously fun. It's lovely. I think it's called the Brighton. Oh, I'll have to look it up. They're a really bunch of really fantastic people. Simon and Gary head that up. Hi guys, if you're watching, and our fantastic volunteers who will very, very happily just spend time listening with you, exploring what your ambition might be. And we have sometimes, Liana, we have sometimes people who come up who say, this is really interesting, but I don't actually have an ambition of my own. And, you know, what we do is we say, well, we can have a chat. Where do you, where do you get your fun from? What do you find exciting? When do you lose a sense of time because you're in the flow, you're really enjoying yourself, or you forget that other things are happening? And those can be some fantastic conversations that often lead to stuff that people want more of, stuff that people want more for other people, like yourself, there you are, stuff that people would actually like to bring in that's new. Fantastic excuses for ambitions that, importantly, allow us to share something intimate, personal, and passionate with others. And this is the heart of Ambigo. And thank you for the passion you brought about this. You know, being a parent myself and knowing how lucky our own children are over here, the injustice of that not being available over in Uganda, I'm very sympathetic to what you're saying there. And I fully understand the motivation for this. So thank you for tuning in and watching. If you have any tips and advice for Liana, please get in touch. If you can give that time, if you've got half an hour to spare, and from what Liana was saying, it could be any sort of time of the day. She'll help coordinate that, which is brilliant. Then we'll make that connection as well. And of course, if you know other people who could possibly do it as well, then as a native English speaker, maybe they're a bit lonely, would like a little contact as well. That could be a good reason. Maybe, and of course, you know, a lot of us are locked down, and if they're sheltering and are missing the kind of, you know, conversation, double bonus here, even better. You know, lovely excuse for having a conversation. They might even make some new friends, and you know, who can say no to that? That's one of my favorite things about doing the Wall of Ambition. We see occasionally new friendships emerge, and that's a delight. Oh, and of course, if you'd like to get involved as well, you know, maybe you want some tips and advice on teaching yourself, you know, hey, we'll certainly put you in touch. Liana, as I've been talking, has anything else occurred to you? Anything else that you might like to request of our viewers?
Just one little thing. Most of my students are women, and they're kind of in their 40s, 50s, nice, friendly ladies. And so, like, because fashion, especially recently, doesn't have like a great reputation, I just want to say that like students are very normal people who are not into politics. It will never be kind of any hard discussion. It's just normal people who have jobs and kids and dreams and just want to talk, and that's it. So, and most of them are not interested in politics. So, and also it might be a chance for someone who to talk, to find out more about normal people in other countries and to see if there, if it's the same or maybe it's different from what you can see on TV or everywhere, and just kind of traveling without leaving your own house. So that's also can be a bonus.
It's a lovely idea as well, and this is part of the exchange, isn't it? It's sort of, you know, discover more of the world, as well as have that chance to have those conversations. Really great. What I'd like to do now is I'd like to bring my friend and colleague Adam back in, because I'm going to charge him with the incredibly challenging task of letting people, some of whom who've stayed with us from the beginning, and those of you who've just tuned in, it's lovely to see you guys. You may need to know how to get in touch with us so that you can volunteer and join Liana, or possibly give some tips and advice. Adam, how could they do this?
Yes. Hi, new people who have just joined us. These are the way you can get in contact. So if you are new, then you've just missed what Liana's been talking about. So after we've concluded this live event, you can actually scroll back and watch it. And then you can get in touch. If you were listening to what Liana had to share with us, then you can get in touch in one of three ways, or in all three ways if you're that keen. You can comment underneath the Facebook video, or on YouTube if that's where you're watching us. Or you can click on the link that you'll find somewhere around this video, and that link will take you onto the broadcasting platform so that we can actually bring you into this conversation here, and you can share your support yourself. Or you can send a message on WhatsApp. You'll see a number scroll across the bottom of your screen. Agatha will be receiving that message, and she'll pass it on to us. How about that?
There it is.
Okay.
There it is.
There it is. So Agatha's waiting for your messages. And also, we might have a little bit of time if you are watching this and you're going, well, I've got a goal or an ambition or an idea that I would like to share and get support with, then we might have a bit of time to fit you in before we finish. So yeah, do get in touch if you'd like to do that. Cool. Well, Liana, we're going to be in touch. We'll be making a social media post again about this, about how it develops, because now you've had a few people get in touch already, right, who have said that they want to help out.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks to the post in our Ambitions of Brighton campaign. So that's been lovely. So we'll keep tabs on it. And Andy, I'm actually going to be volunteering to speak to somebody on Saturday, tomorrow. So yeah, I'm looking forward to my chat tomorrow afternoon with Veronica. So we'll be chatting for half an hour. We'll see what we talk about. It'll be about whatever comes to our mind, I expect. And I'm really looking forward to it, because it'll just be easy. I get to make a new friend. Yes. And I get to help support people and their kids in Uganda without spending a penny. You know, what an offer.
This is the point. It's so easy to do, and so mutually friendly and fun and worthwhile. Who wouldn't want that?
Yeah. Well, thanks so much, Liana. We'll be in touch soon.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
See you again.
Right. Okay. So we have only got one participant left, Andy. And yes, it's somebody that we have actually spoken to before. Oh, so great. Let's go to her now. And let's say good evening to Chloe. Hey, Chloe.
Hi.
Thanks so much for being there. Now, you are a super gig buddy, because not only are you a gig buddy for good mental health, but you're also a stay up late gig buddy as well. You just love being a gig buddy, right?
Yes.
Well, last time we heard from you, it was with the event we did in partnership with Stay Up Late, and that was about starting Brighton's first transgender football team. Now you're coming on with a different goal. Would you like to share what it is?
The different goal that I've got now is to become a comedian. And if the football don't work, my comedian side or comedy side is a fallback for the football that doesn't work. Mm-hmm. And I would like to try and get funding to write my jokes down and actually do a show.
Ooh, okay. What kind of shows would you like to do? Stand up?
Yeah, stand up. Yeah, live at the Apollos, stuff like Lee Evans used to do, because he was my all-time favourite. So, yeah, he was one of my greatest, comedians before he retired. So he was brilliant.
He retired really early, didn't he?
He did.
Yeah. I used to love him as well. My mum loves Lee Evans too. And it's something about the fact that his humour isn't all smutty, basically.
Yeah.
You know, because a lot of comedians just kind of resort to that and talk about naughty things. But
yeah,
he doesn't need to go there. And we've already had a comment in for you, Chloe, from Becky. Go, Chloe. Thanks, Becky, for sending that in.
Cheers, Becky.
So I just wonder, Chloe, like where did this come from? Why would you like to do comedy?
Just because in the past when I've been out with people, like when I'm out with Joe or when I'm out with my gig buddies, they say, "Where do you get your one-liners from? Remember them and try and put it down." But 9 times out of 10, I always forget what I said on the day. So,
are any of the one-liners then suitable for broadcast?
some of them are and some of them aren't. But I probably won't do one at the moment.
Just to play safe. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be one of those people. You hear comedians say, don't you? Oh, I really hate it when I go out somewhere and somebody says, "Go on then, tell us a joke." So I'm not going to do that to you. Okay. So how do you think people could help you? You said that you'd like to get funding. So what would that funding be for? And in what other ways could people help?
Hopefully funding to do a comedy course, and actually go to college and actually learn how to write your jokes and then how to perform them
and how to structure a show as well, because it's
an
art.
Yeah.
So who else have you enjoyed watching over the years?
I went and saw recently Rob Beckett. He's the one with the buck teeth. He's
Beckett.
really, really funny. He does shows like Live at the Apollo and how can I put it? He does shows where they have panelists as well.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I just I couldn't put a face to the name, so I did a little search, and there we are. That's him.
That's him. Yeah, he's funny.
I mean, you can tell he's funny just from the expression.
Yeah. Al Murray, I also like.
Anne Murray. Who's Anne Murray?
Al Murray is he's a comedian.
Sorry, yeah.
Al Murray, he's a comedian. He calls himself the pub landlord.
Yeah. No, he's a good one, and he does a lot of charity work as well, so I like him.
Yeah.
So the ultimate dream is to do things like Live at the Apollo. Do you have any kind of in terms of next steps? Do you have any venues, say in Brighton, that you'd like to do? So, for example, somebody called Becky has got in touch and said, "We make your comedy show in Oscar Bright Film." Are you aware of Oscar Bright Film?
Yes, I also work with Oscar Bright as well, so I do stuff with Oscar Bright as well.
You do a bit of everything.
Yeah.
Excellent. So have you got any venues in Brighton, say?
I haven't at the moment, no, but I would like to, know how to get around that and do some, venues. And also do the Comedia, which is also in Brighton. A one-night stand-up when they open the doors to public to come in and do one-night stand-up. That would be great.
So, have you had any experience in the past of performing or doing some kind of public expression? Whether it's acting or singing or whatever.
I've done speaking in public
really?
before, and that was quite nerve-wracking. I did 2 of those, but I did get over the nerves, and we did crack on, and we did get the funding for what we were fundraising for. So, yeah.
And what was the talk about?
It was to do video with Speak Out. It was called about being heard in government.
Right. And so, for those who don't know, explain what Speak Out do.
They're a charity that help people with learning disabilities in Brighton, and you have to be based in Brighton to get help and to get one-to-one support. But yeah, 9 times out of 10 now are pretty good at what they do. So,
Brilliant stuff.
yeah.
Well, I've really enjoyed listening to your ambition. It's so nice, you know, when we have people come on who are really, really ambitious, you know, and say, you know, shoot for the stars. Why not? You only live once.
Yeah.
You've got to go for it, right?
Yeah, I would even like to learn, if he could, and if he could get him to get in contact, learn some tricks from Lee Evans from the days, from the days that he did on stage. I would like to learn some tricks.
You know, one of the funniest ones that I ever saw him do was when he had to do a performance in France and he doesn't speak French. So what do you do as a comedian when you're in a foreign country and you don't speak the language? So he put on Bohemian Rhapsody and he just did this ridiculous dance. And when it got to the point about Bismillah, no, we will not let you go, let him go, all of that, he was pretending that he was a kid that needed a wee and they wouldn't let him go. You know, it's just it's something universal, isn't it? And it just shows he's got the imagination, he's got a creative mind.
The other one I liked was live at the O2 when he does the 50p joke and the 20p joke about entering out of his pockets, and the 20p is rolling along and saying, "Come on, 50p, you can make it," and then he goes, "No, I'm fucked," and falls to the floor.
You can't say that word.
Sorry. It slipped out, sorry.
Oh dear. Right. But just as we were saying how not naughty Lee Evans is, and then you go and prove us wrong. Right, I'm going to go over to Andy now, who's going to rescue us. Andy.
Hey, Chloe.
Hi.
It's nice to see you again.
Hi.
Hi. As you know, my job is to just write out an ambition calling card on your behalf, which I've attempted to do. So may I check this with you to make sure that I have understood? Here we go, Chloe. Very, very simple ambition. But it's still a worthwhile one. So well done on bringing it along, which is you want to become a comedian. Yeah. Simple as that. Now, in terms of the help that you might need, the first thing I heard you say is really to help find some funding to help you develop as a comedian. And that's write your jokes down, arrange performances, do some courses, comedy courses, and learn skills and arrange performances. It's all the skills in there. It's as simple as that. But there's something else in there that I heard. So I wrote it down on your behalf, which I hope is okay, which is those of you who are watching, if you happen to know Lee Evans, who, by the way, I don't think actually normally watches this show, but if you know Lee Evans, hey, give him a nudge, get him to contact us, and we'll more than happily put him in touch with Chloe. There you go.
That would be great.
It's a nice, simple ambition. Thank you very much for bringing it in. And it was really lovely to get the word out there. In and around this, there's other stuff as well, isn't there? Because Brighton and Hove is full of a lot of creative performers. So you may be able to get some more tips on everything. No, not just the funding part of it, but places where you can practice, open mic opportunities,
and also how drag queens do it, as well as someone that is changing from male to female, but how they do it as well when they get off on stage and try and either do a joke or do singing.
That's a brilliant point. Yeah, that's really good. Okay, Chloe, what I'm going to do is, if it's all right with you, is I'm going to swap cameras over.
Yeah.
And it's nice to see you again. Here I am in front of the Ambigo Wall of Ambition. And I'm going to take your calling card and I'm going to place it on the wall. You okay with that?
Yeah.
That's good. Whoops. Here we go. And, going through the trans experience, there may be a lot of comedians out there who can talk about that. And I think there are connections. I've seen people who've been doing performances from that point of view, which is really good to be able to try and put you in touch with. Let's see. What we normally do with the Wall of Ambitions is, encourage people to come and browse the stuff that's on the wall. If you have some tips and advice for Chloe, maybe a few words.
Sorry, I did that by accident. Sorry.
I wondered where you went. Yeah, it was really sad. We missed you. What can I say?
Sorry.
Welcome back. Anyway, so here we are. Your ambition's up on the wall. And I'm just letting people know that if you have a few words of encouragement for Chloe, please do get in touch. Likewise, if you know, maybe you have some tips and advice on funding pathways, funds that Chloe can apply to that might be able to help, her find the right kind of courses and so on. You may know some brilliant courses that are low cost, or maybe have some free or subsidized spaces. Likewise, get in touch and we'll be happy to let Chloe know. You may well be breaking into the comedy scene yourself, or you may be a seasoned comedian and you've been through this journey, and there you are with regular events and so on, doing as best you can through the lockdown. Then again, please get in touch. You may be on top of a venue or a sort of thing where Chloe can try out some of her sets and everything, kind of give a chance to be in front of a live audience. On that front, we have various friends of Ambigo who do various type of comedy sets like Lava Elastic, or I commend to you the Cabaret Lab, who would be very interested, I think, in your experience as a kind of up and coming comedian with a trans experience and so on. Lovely bunch of people there. And likewise, if you would like to develop up as a comedian yourself and want to be, want to share experiences, then we'd be more than happy to make that connection. What do you think, Chloe? Is there anything else that you might find useful?
No, just what I said to Adam about, if Lee Evans could get in touch and help me with some tricks and tips, that would be great.
Let's focus on that then, because Brighton and Hove is famously a performers town. Well, it's a city now, and we've got a lot of incredibly creative people out there. And Lee Evans, who has retired but had an agent and is well connected. If you know somebody who knows Lee Evans, and you think that he might be up for meeting and chatting and just providing a few encouraging words for Chloe, we'd love to hear from you. Nudge your contacts, reach out please on Chloe's behalf, make those connections and so on. Lee Evans is clearly a bit of a hero, and why not? Very, very funny chap. So let's make that call, and let's find out just how well the world is connected. It's said, Chloe, I don't know if you've heard this, but it's said that we're all so well connected. Somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody that is very likely will know Lee Evans or somebody. So
possibly
with this wide, wonderful reach of people, if you happen to know Lee's agent or accountant or chiropodist or whatever, and, make the connection. Let's see whether we can get to him and make that connection for Chloe. Chloe, this then becomes the time when I normally ask Adam to reappear as if by magic in between us. And when he does, I'll be asking him the question of how can people get in touch with us? You were delaying deliberately, weren't you? He's in a funny mood. I think he's been entertained. So, Adam, I charge you with the mission of letting people know how they can get in touch with us so that we can pass information through to Chloe.
Right, you heard them. If you know Lee Evans, or you know somebody who knows somebody who knows Lee Evans, then get in touch and do so in one of these three ways. You can comment underneath this Facebook Live video or comment on YouTube if that's where you're watching us. Click on the link that accompanies this video if you like, and that will bring you onto this broadcasting area and you can have a chat with us yourself, or you can send a message on WhatsApp to Agatha and Agatha will relay the message to us. Okay, so do that. I'm going to bring in Joe, actually, if Joe's up for that. because Joe had a comment that she shared with us. Joe, do you want to just relay to Chloe what that was?
Hi, Chloe.
Hiya.
Hi. Which one? The one about being naturally really funny? Is that, yeah? Well, Chloe,
yeah, that one. Yeah.
Chloe,
That would work.
we've been out quite a few times, haven't we? On
We have
different Gig Buddies events and stuff. And one of the first things that I noticed about Chloe was like she's got a very natural sense of humour, and was constantly dropping in like these really funny one-liners in quite a dry sort of way. And yeah, I just thought, wow, she's definitely got a sort of a kind of naturally comedic kind of presentation about your personality, Chloe. And we did actually start having a look at some courses and stuff. But a lot of what we found was expensive, wasn't it?
it was, yeah.
We were sort of in the discussion around where to go, and then we had the lockdown, so we kind of got a bit stuck. But I think putting it out there to a much wider audience is really good, and I feel like if Chloe could get some support, a little bit of training, because confidence is such a key issue when you're performing. I think, you know, there's like real potential, Chloe, for you to tell your stories, you know what I mean, and do it in a really
exactly.
So yeah.
And like I was gonna say, it's easy to do it in front of your friends, and it's easy to do it with people you know, but it's to do it with, you know, millions of strangers staring at you and watching at the same time.
It's really hard.
Would be a massive, yeah.
And you know, like in any job, if you know you're training to be a plumber or an actor or teacher, everyone gets some level of training to help them with the natural kind of desire to do something, which is what you really have, and it's really strong. And you watch a lot of comedy as well.
Yeah.
But everyone that's learning anything skills based, needs a little bit of support and training to help them kind of take that dream out of themselves and make it real. So yeah. So really, definitely something. I'm really happy that you've come on tonight to talk about this dream, because we've been talking about it for quite a while, and I think it's you know, this is an opportunity really. So it's really cool.
I think this one is more the realistic one than the football one, I would say.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Well, we know that you've got the ability to speak in front of strangers, because you're doing it right now in a very engaging way. And to people that you can't even see as well. So well done.
Which is even stranger.
Yes, and like you say, Adam, you know, through this kind of I can't remember what it's called, 6, 7, how far we're separated from people, but how close we all are. Through those little chains of people, someone might know or have a contact with Lee Evans, and you never know, do you, whether or not you might be able to connect with him. And yeah.
Well, what we'll do, Chloe, is we'll make a social media post out of this ambition, and we'll just put it out to the universe and see if anybody can get in touch, so we can see if we can get any tricks or tips from him. And if not, other people might have suggestions around other ways that they can help you. Maybe they know a course that you might be able to get onto or something like that. So we'll be in touch with you soon about that, and also with any other support from people that watch this in the next week or two.
Thank you.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Okay, nice one. Thank you so much, Chloe, for coming back on.
Thank you.
We'll see you again in another couple of weeks with another ambition, maybe.
Maybe. Might be the same one.
Nice one. Thank you very much, Chloe. And Joe, we'll come back to you in just a few minutes, if that's okay, to close off the event. Andy, I wondered if we could just take a few minutes to recap on the ambitions that have been shared this evening.
No.
And let me know once you get to
do it.
Oh, fine.
No, I am. I'll be happy to. Sorry, I was just getting in my own back for your delay on reappearing earlier on.
Well, when you get to Phoenix's ambition, well, I was going to say let me know. I'm listening, but I've got a comment to share for it.
Let's start with Phoenix. Phoenix, as you recall, or if you're new in on the show, I'll be happy to share this with you now. As a vegan chef, Phoenix wants to go to Calais specifically to volunteer with the Refugee Community Kitchen, RCK, where they'll be using their skills quite specifically to do food cooking. And Phoenix is aiming at Christmas and New Year, which is a time when they really do need people out there, apparently. Now, what is important here is people who volunteer into the what used to be the Calais jungle, but it's the Calais area where refugees are congregating, is they have to fund their own way out there and meet the need for supplies. So Phoenix is looking for funds to be able to bring supplies out there and also be able to stay out there as well. And Phoenix has got this wonderful thing that's part of the many ways that Phoenix is looking to raise money, and that's through making some fantastic looking, really incredibly good looking handmade truffle boxes. You know, I've got to confess, you know, Phoenix was talking about selling them at $8.50 a piece. You know, if you want to buy them, and knowing that all of the funds will go to help support Phoenix getting out to Calais and being able to use those skills for refugees, pay more. It's okay. Pay a little bit more. Was there a tip or a comment you wanted to say to Phoenix?
So just quickly, Alison has got in touch. Just need to climb over her comment and say, she said, why not ask friends to donate their leftover holiday money to you? There's usually a few euros left lying around drawers. It all adds up. And of course, you know, that's the currency in France as well. So that'd be really useful when Phoenix is actually out there as well. So thank you very much for that comment. And you still just got 2 minutes left, I'd say, to get your comments in. If you've got another one, like, well, we'll come to Chloe again in a second, but go ahead, Andy.
We had a chat really at the top of the show with Emma. Remember Emma? And Emma wanted to do health talks, but she didn't want to talk at people. She wanted to talk with people. Having picked up a lot of lived experience and skills around self-care, and being able to share that knowledge with others in a slightly more social type of experience that builds on camaraderie, on bringing people together to be supported together and tap into some fantastic skill sets. That was her ambition. And really, it's an early day. It's early days for her. So the call for help really was, what do you think? Would it work? Is it an idea you like? Would you come along? Do you know some venues? And the type of skills in there include, they're not restricted to, but include things like understanding placebo effects, you know, the magic of positive thinking and the power of the mind. But that's just one of many things that she hinted at. There you go. That was that ambition. I'm happy to jump to another. Yeah, let me tell you about Liana, who was on just before Chloe. And there's 3 parts to this, which I'll happily build up again. She runs an online English language teaching activity as a school, and she wants to partner her students with native English speakers for conversational practice. Very, very elegant. Now, there's money that goes with that. So she's thinking if she can get people to volunteer to do the speaking, the conversation, then she can get that money donated through to another useful cause. And in this case, she's been introduced to a particular school in Uganda that is really desperate for funds, that is run purely on donations, and needs just a tiny amount of money. She was talking about $45 for a month's salary for their teaching staff. That would make a massive difference. So she's talking about channeling the money associated with her students accessing conversation to be donations for this. And to help with that, she just needs people to volunteer time for half an hour here, half an hour there, maybe just once or maybe many times, just to have a nice, friendly conversation with her students at some convenient time for both of them. Very, very simple ambition, but with a high impact. So if you can volunteer for that, or you know somebody who might actually be a little bit lonely, could do with a little bit of human contact, get in touch. We'll be more than happy to make that connection. Simple, really. And of course, we've just heard from the wonderful Chloe, who's brilliant, exotic ambition. Really, on one level is to become a comedian, but on another is to meet Lee Evans. So, you know, kind of, let's focus on the Lee Evans thing. If you know Lee Evans, or you know somebody who knows Lee Evans, or you know his chiropodist, or maybe his grocer, or maybe somebody who, you know, does the garden for him. He doesn't live locally, I don't think, but, you know, but can make that connection, then please do so. Chloe's ambition is to become a comedian. Oh, there you go, Becky. Thank you, Becky. You know, the direct approach as well. Let's get in touch with him directly. Maybe we can get him to come on the show. That would be a dream, really, if you're prepared to do so, Lee. You know, and nurture Chloe's ambition to become a comedian, to make people laugh, to bring joy to people, and to, you know, kind of learn some of those skills around there, gain some confidence. Brighton, Brighton and Hove is full of the most incredible open mics. I mentioned the Cabaret Lab, which I think would be a brilliant venue for you, Chloe, to have a little look at, and other places like that. It's a great city for this kind of thing. That has been the kind of collection of ambitions this week. Really, ambitions have ranged all over the place, haven't they, Adam? We've had ambitions that have been about wanting to reach out into the world and make a massive difference. We've had ambitions about wanting to reach inside and make a very powerful personal difference. They're all very welcome here. And more than that, it's an opportunity for us to share these human passions with everyone. Let everyone know that we are human, which is something that I read somewhere. Are you human, Adam?
I question it sometimes.
Yeah, I did wonder. Yeah,
I'll go along with it for now.
Fetish. Yes.
Well, and those chocolate truffles from Phoenix as well. Anyhow,
Yes.
look at the time. It's all over for us this evening, apart from to bring Joe back in. Hello, Joe. Just to say a
Hi.
quick goodbye. So, Joe, for those who have joined
Thank
us.
you for having us.
Yeah, there we are. Thank you. So, Joe,
Just to quickly say,
Yes, just to quickly say.
just really quickly, just if anyone knows anyone that wants a gig buddy or would like to be a volunteer on the Gig Buddy project, we're taking applications, really important projects about tackling loneliness and isolation, and enabling people to go out and have fun and have a good time, and enjoy themselves and access, you know, creativity and self-expression. So yeah, get in touch. We're Gig Buddies for Good Mental Health, and thank you so much for having us on your live stream. It's been really brilliant. So thank you so much, guys.
It's been a joy. And of course, Gig Buddies, we do commend them. You know, do join in. It's worth it, really.
Thanks a lot, Joe. We really appreciate it. And if you're at home and you are involved in a community group or a charity or some kind of organization in Brighton and Hove that thinks, well, actually, this will be a really cool thing for us to partner with Ambigo on and have our own show, then do. And just like Rami, you'll find it awesome.
Hey, Rami.
Thanks, Rami, for your comment. All right, lovely. Well, that brings us to the close of another Brighton and Hove Hope Exchange. We'll be back very soon. And we want to hear from you. If you have got goals, ideas, and ambitions, then get in touch, and we might have slots available for you in our future shows. So for now, though, goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Keep waving.